JFrog Artifactory. What is JFrog Artifactory? JFrog Artifactory is usually referred to as Universal Binary Repository Manager. I know it's a mouthful to say. It's the cornerstone of the technology at JFrog. It's a way for you to store the builds you create, the things that were used to create that build, files, configuration files, you name it. Basically, it's an artifact management system or a binary management system. And that binary management system becomes the central hub for all the things that you create as an organization, all the software you create. And we understand that a majority of the companies out there have their own types of software development life cycles, their own CI tooling, all those things that make up the software development experience that companies use and enjoy. And using Artifactory as a centralized hub allows you to manipulate and store the artifacts that you create. The third-party transit dependencies, both direct and indirect, proxying those requests from those developers or your tools to those third-party sources. So this way allows things like accountability. On top of that, it also auditability. But in addition to that, it allows you to look at things that there are an issue, like blast radius and root cause analysis. It's a centralized method for you to store the things that you build and the things that you use to create that. And we understand there's also tons of different technologies out there. We support over 32 different package types, from standard software languages like NPM, Conan, NuGet with C#, CRAN and R for data scientists, Docker images, Helm charts, Terraform repositories, you name it. And we even have generic for things that we don't have a normal place for, a normal type, but allows you to utilize that in such a way that you can manipulate Artifactory to work within the confines of your organization. It can be deployed anywhere, whether it's self-hosted in your own data center, in the cloud. It can be managed by us through our quote-unquote SaaS offering. I don't like to say SaaS because the thing is you can choose your cloud provider, GCP, Azure, AWS, and we maintain it for you. Also, too, the limitless ecosystem that is out there for every software organization. Every single organization that we deal with is different and chooses tool sets to appropriate for that. So things like different CI tooling, different CD tooling, continuous distribution or continuous integration. And it allows you to go ahead and use a centralized methodology. I always like to say that Artifactory is a nice foundation or a conveyor belt for the manufacturing of your software. And you can use different tool sets to manipulate and do the things that you do as an org, but have us as a consistent base method behind it. And understanding that is one of the key components is the fact that software organizations, 90%, 99% of the organizations in the Fortune 100 use open source software. Almost everybody uses open source software out there, but especially for those third-party packages for, say, software development. And the thing is that 85 to 90% of those software that companies build is made up of these free and open source packages. And this allows you to retain them so that you can have a way that's common. So in other words, if you have 1,000 developers all building, say, a project, and they use a common set of libraries between them, this allows a layer of consistency to that, so that all the developers use the same packages all along. When it goes to CI tooling, it's the same packages. But it's a way to maintain those software packages inside of Artifactory that's one of the key core components. And the thing is that DevOps teams, we talked about DevOps as in general, so it's development and operations. Artifactory fills that gap between the CI and the CD, between the development of software and its delivery. It provides a place to store and manipulate and manage all the libraries, binaries, artifacts that companies build, use, and produce. It allows you to have the idea of the SDLC, software development lifecycle, right? Dev, QA, staging, and production. And allows you to create and publish builds into Artifactory for accountability and manipulate and publish those builds and promote them. The promotion API we have allows you to promote builds from dev to QA and staging, and it's all accumulated based on metadata, because one of the key components behind it, and you'll find out in further parts of this tutorial, is the way that artifacts are stored. It's done via a checksum-based approach. We have an entire module based on the checksum-based storage itself, but the basic core component behind this is a SHA-256 value that represents the actual binary that's uploaded into Artifactory, and then it's attributed to metadata in our database for the product. The a database allows you to have more information about the actual artifact itself, the binary itself, and allows you to add more metadata. On top of that, it's a good way for companies to have the accountability that they need to produce solid competitive software. There's a reason why JFrog is the top of the tool chain in most organizations. And on top of storing these libraries, the accountability aspect alone is a major portion of this that we see with organizations. And the thing is the artifact as an artifact repository, like I said, allows you to create completely and fully traceable builds. Everything that you produce in the CI system or developer builds can be published into Artifactory, so you have accountability on how it was created, what was used to create it, how did it do during the software development lifecycle, because you can add more metadata for each of those stages, so you have a complete story of everything you've done. If you need to search for artifacts, everything is highly searchable and accountable in that respect. And also, too, it allows you to manipulate artifacts, move them around, take audits based on them, be able to go in and manipulate the information on those libraries so they become more relevant to the organization. On top of that, if you have more than one location, you can have multiple instances of Artifactory for replication, which you'll find out about in future modules. Replication is a huge thing for us because we have a lot of organizations, over 7,500 global customers utilize us, and replication is a key factor here. Being able to attribute this, you have a large global development organization, and you provide accountability and consistency in those organizations. It's fully flexible in the way it's actually can be utilized. So what's great is it works with the way the customer wants to work with the actual product. It fits into the way they do their thing. Every software company is different. On top of that, but it still provides a single source of truth. Rich metadata that we have inside of Artifactory is essential. It allows you to say, did it pass QA testing? Sure. Did it, what components were used to build it? Here's a list of all the dependencies that were part of it. Where is it currently right now? How many things have I produced, say, in development that have made it to production? There's all these things that you have when you do software development, and it allows that accountability that most companies desperately crave. We provide a solid foundation of trust for these organizations too. You can create policies on access controls and things like that. You can go ahead and organize the software development lifecycle and the process using us as that core component, that key consistency method that companies desperately need. And on top of that, the flexibility to be able to be built, deployed, and used anywhere that a company wants, whether they're in air-gapped environments, say in a regulated industry. It can be utilized as a way for companies to move from, say, their data centers to the cloud. We hear digital, a lot of these digital initiatives that companies are doing. We become a core piece of it because it allows companies to build software the way they're building it now and future-proof software development that they want to achieve or go to in the future. So Artifactory is an amazing core component of consistency and accountability for organizations across the board. And there's a reason why we're chosen by most software development organizations just because of the solid reliability that we have. In the future modules, we'll be breaking down more pieces of Artifactory and actually the core platform that we offer as a solution. So the thing is you need to understand, with Artifactory, it's a way to maintain and manage the builds, and that's done through things called packages. Packages you can look at can be either programming languages, like I mentioned before, maybe Maven with Java or NPM or Cran and R. It could be packages like Ubuntu or Debian-based, say, OS packages or RPM-based packages. It could be Docker images. It could be Helm charts. It could be Terraform templates. It could be Swift if you're an iOS or a tvOS, iPadOS developer. Allows programmers to go ahead and bundle up the things that they're working on together. It allows them to flag and retain libraries that they use to build their platforms. The thing is that understanding what packages are is the right way for you to go ahead and talk to a customer. In the previous session, we talked about discovery, but the packages are the essential bits for programmers or for services or for other things too, or it can be even PDFs and JPEGs. Doesn't matter. We have generic packages that can be manipulated by the customer to do whatever they want. But at the same time, we provide access controls behind it. But packages are the main thing that you need to know about. And when you talk to your customers or the potential customers, you need to understand what kind of stuff they're utilizing. And as I stated, Artifactory acts as a major system of record with these packages, these builds, so you can maintain your artifacts, binaries, builds, the packages you use. You can bundle stuff together. On top of that, it provides information about like dependencies and license information. So you're licensing, free and open source components. When we talk about X-Ray later on how you can actually go ahead and have block based on this. But the thing is, legal teams look for information such as licenses, and you can produce reports on those licenses so that it cuts down and reduces time. But when it comes down to it, Artifactory is a super powerful core component, the centralized hub for companies to build their software, have accountability behind it, consistency behind it, whether they're in a single location or a global scale. And on top of that, attribute to things like regulations, where they might have to produce things like software bill of materials when they create, say, a build, or even things like license compliance and governance and more. It can be optimized for architecture. So, when you talk to your customers, understanding where it is being utilized, it can be used in their own data center, their own private cloud. It can be managed by us if they're looking for more of a cost reduction where they don't want to maintain and manage it themselves, or a hybrid solution when we see things digital transformation where companies are looking to move from, say, their self-hosted data center and reduce costs because they're going to move to the cloud. They can use Artifactory using a replication, stuff that we'll talk about in a future module, to replicate the stuff that they used and produced up into their new resource wherever they're going, or even multiple clouds. That's the thing. Artifactory is a beautiful, simple core entity that software organizations can use to build, manipulate, and have accountability behind the stuff they do, providing a level of consistency that most organizations don't have. Thank you very much.